Oh, yeah. This was 2016. So it was Logan and Jake Paul and
YouTube.
Lele Pons. It was
Yeah.
Vine.
So when did you come to LA?
So like I said, I started acting while I was in high school, and I missed a lot of school because of that. And then when I graduated, I booked like 3 different shows, and they actually all filmed in Vancouver. But I would come to LA a lot for auditions or like screen tests, which are you're like almost about to book the role, but they want you to come and perform, I guess you could say, in front of the network. So I would come to LA a lot, and then my best friend at the time and I would drive out to LA during what was called pilot season. Yeah, after I graduated, I'd come out here for those months. So I was very familiar with LA. And then once I finished those shows, I decided to not do the second seasons of them and moved to LA. And I had already kind of naturally gained like a following. Also, I will say it wasn't just because of the acting. It was the people I was surrounded by in LA. My boyfriend at the time was very much in the social media world, which was very, very, very like unknown to me.
Very new.
Oh, yeah. This was 2016. So, I mean, it was like Logan and Jake Paul and
YouTube.
Lele Pons. It was
Yeah.
Vine.
Yeah, Vine. Yeah,
Which
Vine,
I didn't
YouTube.
even know when I moved to LA. And I had this boyfriend. He was like, "Oh, like we all do Vine," and I was like, "What is Vine? What is Vine? Like I've never heard of that."
Like, are we swinging on a vine? What's happening
Do you
here?
live in igloos in Canada and not know anything about what's going on in the world? And I was like, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I learned a lot about that. I honestly, the way that those people that I was around, they did social media in a way that was not the way I would want to do social media. Just the very different personalities, right? Like they were hoverboarding around Hollywood with their vlog cameras out being like, "What's up, guys? Like here I am." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I could never do that." That was so like unnatural for me. And be like, as an actor, I will say I was kind of in this world where I don't know anymore because I'm not an actor anymore, but in that time, actors really put themselves on a pedestal and looked down upon all things social media.
Right.
So there was a lot of like a little bit of shame kind of dipping my toes into that world. But when within that relationship, we would travel around and kind of create content. And I found that there was such a beauty and freeing aspect to that world. You're in control of your own schedule, your own time. You can be creative in so many different ways. It's continuously evolving. You can literally kind of like maneuver through your job, how you maneuver through life. Right. And that's when I just decided to stick to it and give it a shot.
I think that's so cool that you were kind of accidentally brought into this early adoption of social media.
Yeah.
And I actually listened to your podcast episode with Aggie Law, which, by the way, I am obsessed with her. Yeah. I read her book, Biohack Like a Woman, and I like keep talking about it on the show. So whenever I saw that you were on her show last night, as I was like just doing my deep dive, I was like, oh my God, like we have so much to talk about. But yeah. I listened to the conversation, and you guys just like really had this massive blow up. And it was during a time where, the Vines and the YouTubers, and there was people doing it, but you guys had like a very large following. So I'm sure that was really overwhelming, kind of just like stepping into that role and, kind of coming to LA and just being thrown into it.
Yeah. The followings, like, honestly happened almost overnight back then. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like one tagged post with someone and you wake up with 100,000 more followers than you did before.
Right.
It was very strange. weird and uncomfortable for me, to be honest. Like, I was not trying ever. I want to gain a following. I'll admit now, I'm like, gosh, we're losing some followers. Let's go. Because I understand now that it does affect my business. But back then, I was just like, this is so weird. I don't want to be known for being someone's friend. I want to be known for like what I bring to the table. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of like imposter syndrome and identity issues and just kind of weird feelings that came along with it. But I think the great thing about my journey with all of this is not that I have anything against any of those people that did Vine. Like, I actually learned so much from them. I still speak to like a couple of them to this day. But because we were so different, and I wasn't necessarily gaining inspiration from what they were doing, because it was just completely opposite kind of presences on social media. When I went through that breakup, and that's kind of when I really decided to like do social media on my own and quit acting and just give it my all.